I'm Maru Quintero with NC Counts Coalition. Welcome to Shine a Light, or Voces que Iluminan, as we call it in Spanish. Here we are to connect, to listen, and celebrate the incredible work our members are doing in our communities. Our guest for today comes from Region 3, which includes the area of Charlotte and the surroundings. So please, Dr. Cox, introduce yourself.
Hello, how are you today? Thank you for having me on. I am Dr. Cherie Cox, and I am the Executive Director and founder of Grassroot Connections here in Charlotte, North Carolina. I actually serve Charlotte, North Carolina, and Concord.
So Charlotte is a big area.
Definitely.
Is big, big, big. So we want to know what inspired the creation of your organization and how has the mission evolved to meet the community needs?
Sure. Grassroot Connections actually was born while I lived in Miami, Florida. So I'm originally from Miami, and I did social work in the communities there. So I worked with at-risk families, at-risk teens that had issues with their children being taken away. And so once I did that for 13 years before I moved to North Carolina, it was in my system already. And so I wanted to still be able to continue to work, but continue to work without going to work within the state, at the state level, but being able to still assist mothers and teens that were at risk. And so providing them, being able to see how the court system worked and be a preventative method. And so the organization that I worked for, we were that preventative method. And so grasping all that I learned from there, it was, okay, let's birth something from the grassroots, from the foundation, and make sure that people have a safe environment. We're able to provide resources for individuals so they won't be subject to having their children being taken away from them, teach them how to be self-sufficient, teach them how to be successful if they don't know what direction to go to as far as career-wise. And so the Grassroot Connection was more so about connecting people together, connecting other organizations together, and we all working together to just make a village. And there it was. And so the vision and the plan of it was so big that I didn't know how I was going to do it, right? I was just writing the business plan out saying, this is what I want to do. And I want to make sure today it has evolved that we don't only help equipped parents or equipped women and teens. We help them with life skills. We help them with career directions, with a sense of purpose. We love to build authentic relationships with them. And that helps the community change for the long run. And so I think people ask me a lot of times, will you ever stop doing this work? No, it's a part of me. It's a part of my DNA. So, it's evolved to the point of not only helping women and teen girls, but now also mentoring men and young boys. And that's something that I thought I'll never do. So just adding my family more into it. And it's a happy feeling.
But let me tell you something, because when I was visiting your website, it was oriented to females. Mm-hmm. But we know that moms, we teach boys to be gentlemen, yes, to be respectful, to be good persons. So now you have connecting those pieces of the family or of as a couple. It doesn't matter if it's female or male or male. It doesn't matter. What matters is respect, have a vision, and you have everything together. You have all of that.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, that is that is definitely one of my biggest things is wanting to evolve. When I first started, it was like, okay, it's just you. You don't have a team or anybody. It's just you. And now I have a team that, we can expand. We can involve different ethnicities also. And, some Spanish, some this, some that. And so I'm just learning that even with bringing the men into the fold, that I still had a lot of things to still offer with the men. And so I'm doing this conference that's coming up, and it was solely supposed to be like a women's conference. And God kept tearing at me saying, men need self-care too. Men need self-care too. And so I just changed it. I was like, fine, men also. So now I have a men's speaker coming in and talking about health and wellness. I just opened it up to every individual. And so I'm very excited about being able to offer some awareness of self-care to all people, because we're in a cruel world right now. We need we need a little pause, a little self-care. And so the name of the conference is Pause, the Power of
Oh,
Self-Care. And it is going to be for everybody on November 8th. So
that's
yes, I'm excited.
amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And as you were saying, we are a whole and we need to build persons, people with
Yes,
awareness of themselves in order to being able to provide their best to the other people. And as you were saying, and I love that, to have a village. I love that.
yeah,
Which we cannot live by ourselves. We need a village. So
I
you
strongly believe that.
oh yeah, definitely,
Yeah,
definitely. Even though it doesn't matter if how big the village is, but every individual in that village has to be valuable to you. And that's what you're doing.
exactly.
That's what you're doing. So you mentioned already that you work in the Charlotte area and Concord.
Hmm.
So are you planning to connect more areas? Are you going to expand your services?
As our team gets bigger, currently right now, we do have a women's program where I do mentorship. I do go back to Miami, Florida. So we do have a chapter that's in Miami that I also sponsor and help. So that program is expanding now. I try to get there like every other month and do workshops there in Miami also. The ladies there want to do more with the unhoused population. And so I do with our outreach ministry, I do that here in Charlotte, but now expanding it over into Miami also. But I am open to whoever wants to partner. I do believe in like partnerships. So if it's another county that wants to bring the same services, I have absolutely no problem traveling to that particular area and helping them to set up the program, the same way. Yes, we'll be the umbrella, but just to branch out to different areas. Currently, right now, I have a program that's in Haiti. I have one that's in Peru, and shortly I'll be getting ready to go to Ghana. And so the idea is globally to help people to understand the awareness of self-care, the awareness that we used to have back in the day, the village concept, that we're not here alone. I think people have kind of turned away from that village concept, and everyone thinks that, oh, I got to do it on my own, or I got to do it better. And not realizing that if we just work together and come together like this, we get so much more accomplished. No matter what color you are, no matter what gender you are, no matter, your sexual orientation or anything. But it's so hard for us to speak to the community and get them to understand that none of that matters. We have a common goal to grow together, and it should not be based upon what you look like or what you don't like. Our common goal is that we're all human and we all bleed red. That's it. And
Absolutely.
let's get the work done. And that's one of the things I love about NC Count is, it's like all partnerships, no matter whether you're in Region 3, Region 5, Region 2, that's one of the great things that I love about NC Count.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. As a head of this umbrella, you have already mentioned, however, we wanted to know, how do you uplift the stories, the voices, and the concerns of the community that you serve? Because you have different programs, but you are the ambassador. You are who carry their stories. How do you do that? How do you help that to uplift that information?
Authenticity, being authentic, being real with people. More importantly, listening to them. Listening is so important because one of the things is we might think we know what the community wants and needs are. And a lot of organizations go on that. They go based upon what they think is needed. But if you don't listen to the people in the community to actually know what is needed, then you're just going based on your own, thought process. And, these are the people in the community are the participants and they're not invested. So I think just me as the leader is you have to listen. You have to be authentic. You have to be genuine with people. And then you gain trust, you gain dignity, integrity, and then you build long lasting friendships with the people in your community. Therefore, they don't feel like they're just participating for this organization. They feel like someone actually listened to what I said and they built their program around the things that we need in this community. And that's my key, is always making sure whether they're unhoused, whether they're at risk, putting myself in the situation that what if this is me? How would I feel? Listening to what they have to say, empathizing with them for their situation, because we think about just because we have a roof over our head or we may have 2, 3, 4 cars, this person is catching a bus. They don't want to know where their next meal is. They risk the fact that maybe their children don't have clothes or clean clothes. And you have to empathize with them and understand that that could be you very well. And with that, then look for help. For example, I remember I was doing Uber part-time, and I met this young lady, and she got in the car and she just starts spilling out, telling me everything about her daughter and being pregnant, and she didn't know where they were going to get this and get that. And I said, ma'am, I'm not, I said, I understand. I said, but can I pray with you? And when she finished, I said, can I give you my number? I said, I have a nonprofit. I said, and I have in storage, if you would accept it, there are some gently used things, but I have some things that I can give you for your daughter. So she says, most definitely. And so we stayed in contact. I gave her, things for her daughter, things for the baby. And I think it was just 2 weeks ago, I called her up and I was like, hey, I have a high chair because my granddaughter has grown out of her high chair and I have a 3-in-1, and so she says, yeah, definitely. And it was just building authentic relationships. I listened, and it was just, a 15-minute ride that it took just to let her vent. And if she wouldn't have said anything, closed mouths don't get fed. She wouldn't have had all of the things that she have right now.
And the thing is that you never know who is listening. You never know who cares. But if you
Yes.
present yourself, as you were mentioned before, with authenticity,
Mm-hmm.
people can connect with you. and you
Yes.
create magic. Because what happened in that conversation for her was just taking out everything what she has, and it was a magic that you were the one who was driving the Uber, and she ended up getting a lot of things. So it's important to care not
Right.
only about you but only about other people. And yeah, being authentic it's a power tool. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. So what about because when you're talking and when you work with the communities, you need to rely in some information, some data.
Hmm.
So how do you handle the information provided by the census in order to better respond to your communities?
Um, Looking at data really helps, and it's amazing because prior to joining NC Count, um, that always used to be a struggle for me. Looking, for demographics, looking
Mm.
to see, it's like, where do I need to go? What do I need to do? And I really learned a lot, like going to workshops and things, especially dealing with the census and data. And so what I've learned over time is bringing it on in, being very specific on what I'm looking for, the age, the income, um, the demographic areas that they live in, the disparity, whether they're disabled, things of that nature. And it helped me to tailor down the programs that I currently have now. Because I think the programs, like from when we first began 2011, 2012, it was so broad. So the census data actually helped me to see, okay, literally, this is where I need to tailor my programs to. And it's been amazing trying to go through the data. That might be a little bit more difficult, but to actually have it saying, okay, mentorship is needed here, health and wellness is needed. So let me go back to the drawing board. Let me go back to my board. Let me see, okay, if we're going to uplift and empower and mentor, this is the target market that we need to do it for, because this is who needs it. So using that data and using census helped me, or this is the area, West Boulevard or the West Side, this is the area that I need to focus on. Logan area in Concord, that is the area that I need to focus on in order to make sure that people are becoming self-sufficient. People are being empowered and uplifted and educated about the things that they need in order to be successful in this world. So it definitely opened my eyes to a lot coming in. Just sitting down, again, listening, learning. What do I need to do with this data? You hear it a lot. Oh, you need data to get grants. You need data.
Yeah.
Well, surprisingly, I haven't applied for grants, but I'm still using the data to do the work because it's needed. So despite whether you have funding or not, still need to do the work. The work needs to be done.
Mm.
We're here to serve. And so, yes, that has definitely helped a lot.
So knowing that at the beginning you didn't work with the census, you were more like, "Whew, where can I get this data?" Now that you know where to get it through the Census Bureau, do you think that you have any challenging to understand and to interpreting the census data? Because it's we know it can be tricky sometimes. Have you find a way to, okay, this is what I need to focus in, or how would you think it will be easier to handle the data?
It is one of my main challenges for myself. Now, to even bring any of my team members on, it definitely becomes very overwhelming because it's such a large amount of information.
Mm.
It's difficult to interpret and add additional information too. I think one of the things, if the census would give like webinars or training sessions or different type of tools that can break down the information, it would be so much easier for grassroots organizations like myself to be able to work through it. You definitely have to have a lot of patience with going through the information and really understanding what are you looking for, because like I said, it's a lot of information, but you have to know what are you looking for. And if they can break down the information by maybe population, by neighborhoods, by groups, it'll be a lot easier to directly work on the census.gov. Yep.
There is an academy. It's called Census Academy.
Okay.
And they are offering different webinars along the year.
Okay.
And there is always the opportunity to ask, to place questions. So it can maybe an opportunity for you to go to the Census
I
Academy
would
and
definitely. I'll
I
be
was like,
there.
okay, this, I need to get this. Because we
Yes.
know it's tricky. We know it's tricky, but as you were saying, and I said you provide the best example at the beginning of the organization. You were, where should I get this? How do I know my
Right.
community? Census is the answer, but we know it's a little bit tricky.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Census Academy is right there, no cost, all year round. It talks not only
Oh,
about
wow.
the census, the decennial, I mean, the decennial, it also talks about the American Community Survey. There's a lot of information, very friendly, very diverse. So
Wow. Okay.
I invite you to visit the website.
I
Ac- Census
definitely will. Definitely. Yes. Because, I mean, I spent hours there because you want the information, you want to know. Um, I have some members that are on the board, and I also have some team members that volunteer and help. And they're just like, what is it that you want? But I will sit there and go for hours just looking and writing information down and seeing. So that definitely the Census Academy would definitely help me a lot.
Yes, 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 yes. I highly recommend it because I think at the
Okay.
beginning, every one of us were, wow, how do we handle this? But as the
Mhm.
more that you get info through them, is, oh, I know where to go right now.
Yes.
So yeah, that's a tip for you. That's a tip for you. So
Yes. Thank you.
of course. So at the beginning, you were saying about the relationship with NC Counts Coalition. So, how the partnership that you or we have helped grow the impact that you have in the community?
Um, Resources, knowledge, definitely the data, definitely learning about the data. Helped me a lot to better understand the community. Because coming from, like I said, coming from Miami, it's different. The city is different. We are used to a lot of collaboration, a lot of partnerships. And prior to me being a part of NC Count Coalition, I thought that people in the Charlotte area, I'm like, no one wants to partner. No one wants to work. Everyone wants to do it separately. And we're all doing almost the same thing. And if we partner, we can get so much more done. And so learning the different outreach strategies helped me a lot with NC Count. Being able to actually connect with other community partners who want to partner, um, and where we're able to then align programs together and work together, is amazing. Like, I really like the fact that other partners don't mind working together. And even if we're not in the same region, I remember, driving to other areas just to support. And it's important. It's important that we are able to support each other. And I wouldn't have had that information if it was not for being in the coalition, where I'm able to support others. Others are able to support me. I do believe that we build stronger communities when we work together.
Mm.
We build longing last relationships when we work together. And we build, I guess you can say, a family. We build a family that we know that we can, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I was just calling to check in on you, not for a partnership, not for anything else. It's just a telephone call, see how you're doing, how's your health. And by the way, I'm doing this event next weekend. If you can make it, great, and so it's all about sometimes just being supportive of the fact that that you can pick up the phone from a fellow partner of NC Count and know that they're just there. So it's really been an honor to be able to do that.
Well, the honors goes in both ways, because we can be a team, but with our members, as you and among others, we are a coalition. But we wouldn't do anything if we don't have you, because we are a small team. So having you all around the state working as a village, and I'm taking the word from you, we are
Yes.
creating a village.
Yes.
Based on vulnerability, dignity, respectful, being authentic.
Yes.
So, and that's what we are, and we are grateful for you. So that's what I was saying. The honor is on us to have members like you all, because you are the one who are working daily, in a daily basis in the communities. So if you can pick 3 words to describe the alliance that you have with us, what do they be?
The 3 would be empowering, supportive, and transformative. Yes.
Wow.
NC Count definitely transforms organizations because of the partnerships that we have, because of the people that we're able to reach through the partnerships. You are very supportive because you're right there along and working with community organizations and working with the community itself. So it's not just the fact that you're working with the community, the organization, but you're actually out there working too. You're coming to events, you're involved in events. So we don't feel like we're alone out in the, out doing anything. And definitely empowering, because you equipped us with the tools that we need, the data that we need, the informed decisions sometimes that we may have, not know. And it's nothing but to ask a question and we get answers. And the important thing is being knowledgeable, and NC Count provides that. Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Cox. It was a pleasure knowing you, knowing all the programs that you offer, impacting not only, as you were saying at the beginning, females, but also males, that we need to be together, one community, one city, one person, one village. And I get that. And I take that word from you. Love it. Love it. Thank you so much for the time that you stay with us.
You're quite welcome. You're quite welcome. I hope to see you at the November 8th conference. I will make sure that everyone have it. It is called Pause, the Power of Self-Care, and tickets are on Eventbrite. So if anyone that would love to attend, all they have to do is go to Eventbrite, and we are sponsoring some people also that cannot afford it, but really need to come and get some awareness about self-care. All they have to do is reach out via our website and give me a short little message on why we think that they should be there.
Perfect. Thank you so much for the invite and for sharing that here. We are going to make sure that everybody get it. We are going to be in YouTube, but also we will be sharing this information in the newsletter. So hopefully you will have a great turnaround. And yes. And for you who join us, thank you. Let's keep this conversation going and continue to support one another to create a village, as Dr. Cox was mentioned today. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do so. We invite you to activate the notifications and share with others. Together, we are building a healthy, fair, and equitable North Carolina. Thank you so much and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.